Chapter 51. Gotta stay calm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations Nighttime. In the rented apartment. The shop had been closed earlier than usual. Lin Fan was lying on his bed, scrolling through Weibo. Weibo fan count. 1.3 million. Compared to a superstar, it was still miles away, but compared to an ordinary person, it was a remarkable achievement. Wow, looks like the sun has risen from the west. This chief internet troll is helping me to clean up. How scary. Then, Lin Fan sent a message to Autumn Swordfish Killer. If you know that you were wrong and truly repent, I'll be magnanimous and forgive you for the past. Autumn Swordfish Killer was busy playing his game, and when he saw the private message, he was furious and he replied with just 2 words, "Get lost." Just like him, Yang Xiaoliang's name had lit up on the internet. The bad news flooded the headlines and there was no way he could hide it. Many people also used the saga to worsen the situation with more juicy news. My secret with Yang Xiaoliang. Yang Xiaoliang made me spend a night with him and then gave me $50,000. Lin Fan knew that it was almost impossible for Yang Xiaoliang to clear his name. It would already be lucky if he didn't get blocked. Lin Fan's Weibo had a sea of comments, but most of them were passing comments as they just wanted to watch the show. However, there were some who had unquestioning belief, saying that they had already left for Shanghai and would arrive the next day. On the other hand, there were also quite a number of people criticizing Lin Fan on his Weibo. They thought it was just superstition and tried to convince everyone to not believe him. At the same time, they believed that the reason Lin Fan could predict everything was that he was manipulating things behind the scenes. As for that, Lin Fan did not bother about them at all. He had already achieved his goals anyway. He had 2 big goals in life. The first was to earn money and the second was unlock more knowledge. The next day, Lin Fan woke up and took a rinse at 8 a.m. Then, he left the house early. The neighboring elder Wang was exercising in his garden, and when he saw Lin Fan, his face changed to one of displeasure. After having earned a sum of money in this period of time, Lin Fan was prepared to change locations. He would have been a fool to not enjoy himself, using the money that he had earned. Cloud Street. Lin Fan made a turn and went towards his shop. Then, he noticed that Fraud Tian was hiding at the corner. He went up to him and patted him on his shoulder. What's going on? Fraud Tian jumped in shock. Then, he pointed to the front and said, "Look there." Lin Fan looked in that direction and was stunned by what he saw. The entrance of the shop was filled with people. There were reporters and townsfolk. The townsfolk were holding onto their phones and knocking on the door. It was a lively atmosphere, and it also attracted the attention of the other business owners nearby as they did not know what was happening. Yang Xiaoliang's scandals had been exposed, but the reporters were not concerned about it. Their main focus was Master Lin. The reporters began to interview the owners of other shops. The shop beside Lin Fan's was one that sold apparel and clothing. The fat lady boss was dressed in her oversized red dress as she excitedly stood in front of the cameras. "Oh, this shop has such lousy business. There aren't many customers," the lady boss said as she adjusted her posture, attempting to make herself look prettier in front of the cameras. The interviewers held their urge to curse at her and asked, "Did anything weird happen recently?" "Anything weird? Yeah. A few days ago, a man driving a luxurious car came to this shop with some people. He wanted to give the owner $1 million. The owner did not want his money and they ended up fighting. Even the police got involved. Don't you think this man is crazy for rejecting $1 million? The reporters were happy with the piece of news. They did not want to hear her nag anymore as she did not have any more interesting news. So, they switched off the cameras. "Hey, I'm not done yet." The reporters didn't bother to reply. The owners of the surrounding shops started to discuss the matter with their employees. What's with this shop? Why are there so many people? Even the reporters are here. I heard this shop recently got really famous on Weibo. The owner predicted many events. When the Weibo community found out about the location, they rushed over. How awesome! I didn't expect this fortune-telling shop to become so popular in such a short time. It didn't even have many customers. Yeah, I would have gone for a session of fortune-telling if I had known. Now that there are so many people in the queue, I doubt I can still go for it. What should we do? Fraud Tian was nervous as he looked at the shop. Are you stupid? Of course, we have to open our shop for business. What do we do for a living? What are these people here for? Don't you understand? Lin Fan said. Fraud Tian slapped himself on his thigh and said, "Oh right, we're fortune-tellers. These people must be here for us to help them. Sigh, I'm so stupid for hiding here. I thought they were here to cause trouble. He's the boss of this shop." When Lin Fan had arrived on the streets, the owner of the adjacent store shouted. All the reporters turned to look before surrounding him. Hi, Master Lin. Could I ask you a few questions? I'm not Master Lin. It's him. Fraud Tian said with an angry look on his face, you must be blind. Can't you see that Master Lin is walking in front? Fraud Tian was a little happy at the fact that everyone thought he was Master Lin despite his average looks. Lin Fan felt a little helpless at that sight. It wasn't the first time that people had failed to recognize him. It seemed that he was really too young. Then, the reporters rushed towards him and surrounded him. They asked him a whole lot of questions. Lin Fan was familiar with situations like this. In front of these reporters, how could he look excited? Relax, please keep quiet. Let me open the door first. Lin Fan said calmly as he waved his hands. Then, he took out his keys and opened the door. The way Lin Fan acted really showed that he had the air of a great master. Many of the netizens who had come took several photos when they saw Master Lin in person. Then, they posted the pictures on Weibo. Finally met Master Lin in person. He has the demeanor of a great master indeed. He wasn't even nervous in front of such a large crowd of people. Shortly afterward, many netizens commented on Weibo. D*MN, he's so young. I thought he would be in his 50s or even 60s. This Master Lin doesn't even look special. The poster really traveled all the way to meet him. How stupid. To the poster, please give us real-time updates on the situation. In the shop. Lin Fan sat on the chair calmly and said, everyone, please don't squeeze or push around. My shop is rather small. Fraud Tian had not witnessed such a situation before and was rather excited. He took out several plastic cups, poured tea and moved the chairs around. Then, he stayed around Master Lin, hoping to appear on tape. Hi, Master Lin. I am a reporter from Fan Entertainment. May I know if the predictions online were indeed made by you? A female reporter asked. Lin Fan took a sip of his tea, raised his head and said, this pretty lady, you just broke up with your boyfriend yesterday and today, you're at work. How professional. The surrounding reporters and crowd were all stunned. Why did this Master Lin change the topic? They wanted to hear some breaking news. But the female reporter was dumbfounded as her mouth widened in awe. When the other people saw her reactions, they were also stunned. D*MN, could that really be true? Chapter 52. I'm not afraid. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 52. I'm not afraid. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations, Master, how did you know? The female reporter asked. She swore that it was her first time meeting Master Lin. Moreover, it had been a long-distance relationship that she had with her ex. Lin Fan furrowed his brows and pointed outside. What does it say on my door? The female reporter was stunned and speechless. The crowd in the surrounding laughed as they replied, Master Lin. At the same time, they were all shocked at how powerful Master Lin was. Just one look at the reporter and he could tell about her boyfriend. It was unbelievable. Master Lin, your predictions on Weibo all came true. Did you predict them a long time ago? Another reporter asked. Yes, of course. Lin Fan replied confidently. Master Lin, when Chan said that you stole his information and wanted to sue you. Regarding this, do you have anything to say? Another reporter asked. He's in the Beijing and I'm in Shanghai. How would I have been able to steal his information? Moreover, he has only a wife and no children. How could I have obtained it? Lin Fan replied. Lin Fan really wasn't bothered about Wen Chan, and there was a hidden meaning in his reply. To the more experienced reporters, they obviously understood. If it wasn't Wen Chan, then it had to be his wife. Lin Fan was full of confidence when dealing with those reporters as he made the predictions based on true ability. Therefore, he wasn't afraid. Master, have you made a wrong prediction before? Reporter asked. I've never been wrong before. Lin Fan replied confidently. The reporters were all stunned by how confident Lin Fan was. Then, the reporter thought of all the news that had been going around and asked, Master Lin, the #1 master in the country, Wu Tianhe, is the president of the Metaphysics Society. He said that in metaphysics, only 3 out of 10 predictions are legitimate. What do you think of this? The other reporters were all eager to find out as it was a potential eye-catching headline. Lin Fan looked at the reporter and smiled as if he knew that the reporter was trying to imply something. Although Fraud Tian was a little dumb, he made eye contact with Lin Fan, hinting at him to not speak about that matter. Wu Tianhe was a formidable force in the metaphysics world and had many connections. If Lin Fan was to offend him, it would be disastrous. But Lin Fan was fearless. He didn't care who it was. As long as the person said something wrong, he had to correct it. This Master Wu Tianhe is quite capable. At the same time, he is a kind master. He knows that his skills are not that great and he doesn't want to deceive others. But for me, all my predictions are accurate. Lin Fan said as he smiled. It's over. Fraud Tian was dumbfounded. This kid is looking for trouble again. Meanwhile, the reporters recorded it down excitedly. The others in the crowd obviously didn't know who Wu Tianhe was. They were there just to look for Master Lin for him to read their fortunes. Are these reporters done? We are still waiting for Master Lin, for our fortunes to be read, the impatient crowd complained. Lin Fan looked at the crowd intently. They didn't just represent money, they were potentially capable of helping him increase his reputation. For him to give accurate predictions and become the well-respected Master Lin wasn't for sure yet. Ladies and gentlemen, the QA is over. They've flown a long way over here and are waiting for me to read their fortunes, Lin Fan said. Yeah, you guys should move since you're done with your questions. Master Lin, read mine first, please. The reporters felt that they had made a worthwhile trip as they had obtained several pieces of potential top headlines, especially the last part about the great master, Wu Tianhe. Perhaps it wouldn't have a great impact on ordinary people who didn't know who Wu Tianhe was. But for those who were interested in metaphysics, it would definitely be impactful. Finally, it was the moment the crowd had been waiting for. The reporters stood at the side, waiting to see if there were going to be any more interesting information. Lin Fan felt a little helpless with the situation. The questions that the townsfolk were asking were weird, but he didn't find any major problems with them. Lin Fan had fully understood the rules in the encyclopedia. They were all rules to ensure that he wouldn't tell the people the facts directly. As long as he followed that rule of thumb, he wouldn't be struck by lightning. For example, you will get badly beaten up by someone wearing a full black outfit tomorrow. He would get struck by lightning if he said it so directly. But if he just told the person that he would get beaten up the next day, the encyclopedia wouldn't fault him for that. Sometimes, Lin Fan wondered what exactly was the difference since it was so minute. But to the encyclopedia, it was a huge difference. The fortune-telling lasted for the whole day. Finally, Lin Fan sighed in relief as he sent the last customer out of the shop at night. I'm too exhausted. My lips are completely dry. Lin Fan lay motionlessly on the chair and complained. Fraud Tian was also exhausted, but the fact that the business was booming made Fraud Tian jump in excitement. However, he was still a little worried. Bro, you shouldn't have answered that reporter's question. You'll offend people like that. Lin Fan just rolled his eyes. Why should I be afraid? I just spoke the truth. You haven't reached my level yet. Once you're here, you'll understand, Lin Fan said proudly with a fearless look on his face. If he just followed what others were saying, then he wouldn't be able to express his own opinions. Furthermore, what he said was nothing but the truth. Why should he be afraid? Fraud Tian looked at Lin Fan and said, "You're King awesome, you're good. Just wait till you get beaten up by all of them, then you'll face the consequences." I'm not afraid. Let's talk about something else. If things go on like this, I will die here someday. For the sake of my life, we will have to set new rules tomorrow, Lin Fan said as he didn't want to be the first fortune-teller to die on his table. But this is earning us money. Fraud Tian said sadly. Even if you have money, you wouldn't be able to spend it if you're dead. Why don't you try it? Lin Fan rolled his eyes at Fraud Tian. This fraud only thinks about money. I'm not as capable as you. Fraud Tian gave in to Lin Fan. The more they interacted, the more Fraud Tian had to give in to Lin Fan. Meanwhile, at a certain university, Luong Xing returned to the hostel. She saw Su Haojie drinking beer alone and had a bad feeling in her heart. Today's interview. I failed. Su Haojie was extremely depressed. He had prepared for it for so long and he still failed it. It had dealt a heavy blow to him. It's okay, you will find a better company, Luong Xing tried to console him. At the same time, her trust in Master Lin increased. Master Lin had already said that Su Haojie would have the same bad luck as Luong Xing for those 2 days. Luong Xing believed in his words, and the fact that she had fallen down a few times today for no reason confirmed that it was indeed true. Chapter 53. The first you are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations. The next day, Lin Fan told Fraud Tian to open the stall slightly earlier. From the look of the current situation, if they did not implement something to control the crowd, they might really die in their shop. While there were no customers yet, they discussed for a while and came up with a solution. They decided to limit the number of customers daily, and the customers would be able to make appointments with the shop prior to visiting. Lin Fan instructed Fraud Tian to print a poster and paste it on the door. Please note. Only a maximum of 20 customers daily. You may make an appointment before coming. We will not be open on Saturdays and Sundays. Fraud Tian was heartbroken when he was pasting the poster on the door. They were saying goodbye to a lot of money. The lady boss of the apparel shop located beside Lin Fan's shop saw the poster and flirtatiously said, "This is the first time I've seen such a rule. Fraud Tian, you can come have a seat in my stall when you're free." Fraud Tian was grossed out when he saw that the fat lady boss was trying to flirt with him. He quickly waved his hands and rejected her. You must be kidding. I, Tian, am of indomitable spirit. How can I be tempted by such a **** figure? If so, at least give me someone that looks better. Fraud Tian, I think this lady boss has a thing for you. You're single anyway. Why not try it out? Lin Fan laughed and said. F*ck off, I know I'm handsome but I am not so casual when it comes to these things. Fraud Tian replied. Just as they were chatting, a customer entered the shop. Master Lin, there will be a limit on customers in future, a surprised middle-aged lady asked as she saw the poster. Lin Fan replied calmly, yes. It's really tiring for me to read the fortunes of so many people. You're the first customer today. What would you like to find out? Recently, I keep dreaming of my husband having an affair. I would like you to have a look, said the middle-aged lady. Lin Fan smiled as he looked at the customer and said, it was already kind of explained in the dream. To dream of your husband having an affair, it means that you care a lot about him and it shows that you have a strong relationship with him. There's no problem at all. Oh, the middle-aged lady sighed in relief after hearing what the master had said. But you have to be more cautious for now. I'd advise your husband to not go overseas. He will likely encounter loss of wealth but it won't be life-threatening. Lin Fan added on. Master, could you be a little more specific? The middle-aged lady panicked and said. Lin Fan waved his hands and replied, the mysteries of heaven must not be revealed. You must remember to remind him to not go anywhere far away during these 2 days, but even if he decides to go, it'll just be a loss of wealth for him. If not for the encyclopedia's stupid rules, Lin Fan really wanted to tell her the truth. But that was all he could have said, which was not much different from telling her everything. The middle-aged lady believed in Lin Fan. She was an active member of Weibo, and when she had found out that Shanghai had such a great master, she naturally had to come for a session of fortune-telling. Then, she paid and left the shop. Just a few words in a few minutes and he had earned a few $100s. Where else would you earn such an amount in just a few minutes? Lin Fan happily put the money away in the drawer. Then, he noticed that Fraud Tian looked at him suspiciously. He asked, Fraud, why are you looking at me like that? Fraud Tian mumbled a weird noise and said, sometimes I just gotta give you all my respect. Guess I'd only get angry if I compare myself to you. You're absolutely right. Lin Fan laughed and said. Fraud Tian rolled his eyes. This guy just loves to tease others. Weibo. The reporters who had previously interviewed Lin Fan were all excited when they found out that the lottery winner had actually won because of Master Lin's prediction. However, the reporters were still quite doubtful of Master Lin as it was still difficult for them to believe everything. In recent times, there were many great masters. But with the persistence and curiosity of the reporters, their tricks and lies had all been exposed. Therefore, Master Lin attracted the attention of many reporters as they wanted to expose him too, thinking that he was a liar. On Weibo, a post surfaced and it became increasingly popular. It even became a trending topic. Shanghai's Master Lin is always accurate with his words. He discredited the president of the National Metaphysics Society, Wu Tianhe. The Metaphysics Society president, Wu Tianhe, wasn't as popular as the superstars, but those in the same trade all respected him. Lin Fan was very popular on Weibo recently, and that article had attracted the attention of many netizens. What a big claim! Wu Tianhe is a top fortune-teller in the country and has helped many wealthy and influential people in terms of fortune-telling. This Master Lin is getting a little cocky. Just a few accurate predictions and he really thinks that he's a god. Master Lin all the way. Who is this Wu Tianhe? How can he compare to our great Master Lin? To the guy above, go search him up. Even the chief of Weibo has sought help from Wu Tianhe before. D**mn, I just took a look. How formidable. He must be an expert. The incident on Weibo caused many people to discuss it. Those who studied metaphysics all doubted Lin Fan. They criticized him as they felt that Lin Fan just wanted all the attention and had no talent. Who was Wu Tianhe? That's the #1 metaphysician in the nation. How could this young and inexperienced chap doubt him? But these people didn't even have a Weibo fanbase that was comparable to Lin fans. Naturally, they didn't have the capability to influence anything. But some of those influential people who had sought Wu Tianhe's help before came forward and made some statements. They were loyal believers of Wu Tianhe. How could they let this young and new fortune teller criticize him? At a luxurious villa in Lianzhou. The interior of the villa was designed with a vintage theme in mind and was even filled with vintage furniture which was extremely expensive. Wu Tianhe was a seventh-generation metaphysician. In the trade of metaphysics, he had attained many achievements. He had given advice to countless people and many of them were influential and wealthy men. He was a prestigious master within Lianzhou and even across the country. As such, he was well respected by the influential and rich. A young and beautiful lady was lying on the luxurious sofa, scrolling through Weibo on her phone. When she saw the news on Weibo, she jumped in anger. This guy is too much. Yulan, please refrain from speaking like that. What is it this time? An elderly man reminded gently as he overheard her daughter when he came out of the study room. The elderly man was Wu Tianhe, the nation's top metaphysician. Also, he was considered to be the top metaphysician in all 7 generations. There was a rumor about Wu Tianhe's younger years. His whole family had been hiding from oppression and they went to hide in the forests when they saw a female corpse at the riverside. Wu Tianhe helped to bury the female corpse and dreamt of the girl on the same night. The girl wanted to return the favor and gave Wu Tianhe 2 choices. To be rich or to lead a peaceful life. He chose the former and then he realized that his achievements in metaphysics improved tremendously. When Wu Tianhe had reached his middle age, he was already successful and famous. However, he had read the fortunes of too many people and had revealed the mysteries of heaven. As a result, his future generations were destined to lead tough lives. Especially when he had a daughter but lost his wife due to a difficult childbirth. Furthermore, his daughter was fated to live a terrible. She lacked 2 things in the 8 characters of birth. Hence, she was named as Yulan, to make up for the loss in the earth and water aspects. But it was in her fate. Wu Tianhe couldn't do anything to change it. Dad, look at this Weibo. This guy actually said your skills are lousy. How infuriating. Wu Yulan said angrily. Wu Tianhe was a benevolent man. He wasn't bothered by it at all and replied, stay calm, do not be easily angered. Dad, look. He actually said that something bad would happen to me today and asked me to be cautious. I'm so angry. I am so angry. Wu Yulan said and typed furiously on her phone, scolding the other party. Wu Tianhe shook his head and said, don't be bothered by these things. Dad has already read your fortune. You will be safe today, nothing will happen to you. That's for sure. Dad's already said I'll be safe and this guy still tried to scare me. Who does he think he is? I don't have to bother about him. Those uncles were also furious with this chap. Wu Yulan put down her phone and embraced Wu Tianhe from the back. Dad, I'm going out now. I will bring some delicious food home for you. Wu Tianhe lovingly looked at his beloved daughter and replied, be home earlier and stay safe. Don't worry, I know. Wu Yulan packed her bag and left the house. Chapter 54. Super fearsome. Extremely fearsome. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations, bloody youngster, you actually dare to talk about me like that. You must have a death wish. Lin Fan was scrolling through Weibo when suddenly, a chick spammed him via private message. This infuriated him and of course, he had to do something about it. But this girl was beautiful. She was even prettier than those supermodels on TV. Lin Fan couldn't let her go just like that and so he read her fortune for free. After waiting for a while, the girl did not reply him. Lin Fan was bored as he thought he had found a chick to chat with, but the other party actually disappeared. From Lin Fan's view, the girl was destined to have a tough life. Lin Fan had ignored the comments on Weibo. He couldn't have restricted the freedom to discuss on his Weibo. However, Lin Fan was still happy with his Weibo, which consisted of mostly compliments with a small number of negative comments. But Lin Fan realized that Autumn Sword Fish Killer had started to flame him again. He had just helped to fend off his haters yesterday. Had he gone crazy? Why was he flaming Lin Fan again? What a *TTY Master Lin. Such careless predictions. Who does he think he is? Everyone has their responsibilities when it comes to speaking about mysteries and prophecies. We should be responsible for our words. Wu Tian, he is the president of the Metaphysics Society. Do you think you have the rights to criticize him? Lin Fan then scrolled through his Weibo again and realized that his compliments were slowly disappearing and he felt really lost. Autumn Sword Fish Killer had become really arrogant. This guy really thought I was on his side. I was just being realistic and cracking down on the scum of society. Today, I will officially start to put you down. Autumn Sword Fish Killer looked at his Weibo and let out an evil laughter. All 10 of his fat and plump fingers continued to type rapidly. Human, with the threat of Autumn Sword Fish Killer, the death of your Weibo is under my control. If you sincerely repent, then I might consider letting you off. Autumn Sword Fish Killer spoke arrogantly as he treated Lin Fan with absolutely zero respect. He was the chief of the internet trolls and their one and only god. Ding ding. As Autumn Sword Fish Killer was prepared to continue with his threats against Lin Fan, suddenly, his QQ notification rang. Autumn Sword Fish Killer was really excited when he saw the message from a cute girl. It was the girl that Autumn Sword Fish Killer had always been trying to contact. Whenever he felt lonely, it was this girl who had accompanied him. In his heart, she was someone that couldn't be replaced. Then, he opened the chat and saw a picture of a cute girl with tiger-like claws. There were 2 words beside the girl, which said, super fearsome. She's teasing me so much, I have to send a message back. Autumn Sword Fish Killer felt aroused. Then, he found the same emoji and sent her the same message, adding in 2 more words. Super fearsome, extremely fearsome. But what Autumn Sword Fish Killer didn't know was that the person who had sent him such a message was actually a fat man. He was picking his toes and had mucus flowing from his nose into his mouth. If he was to start laughing, he would have eaten his own mucus. This is so amusing that I feel like dying. In Autumn Sword Fish Killer's eyes, the cute girl that he chatted with was his only reliable friend. The moment she had texted him, he didn't even care about the internet war with Lin Fan. Autumn Sword Fish Killer was aroused by the exchange of texts with the girl. His plump body was trembling and he was laughing really happily, like a little child. Affectionate person. Autumn Sword brother, please help me to become a VIP on QQ. I love you so much. Autumn Sword Fish Killer said, no problem baby, I will help you right now. He looked at the 3-figure price on the webpage and he couldn't quite bear to pay it. But in order to make his affectionate baby happy, this small amount of money didn't count as much, so he just did it. Hey, where did this chief internet troll go? Why did he stop arguing with me? Lin Fan said curiously. At that moment, a customer came in and Lin Fan immediately kept his phone. There was a stream of people outside the door, those who had found out about his shop via Weibo. Some of them were doubtful of him and decided to visit him to find out more even if they had to pay a little bit of money. Meanwhile, there were also some who had unwavering faith in him and decided to visit him even though they had to travel a long distance. At the entrance, the group of people saw the poster. Ah! There's a customer limit now. Of course there has to be a limit. I heard from others that for a true fortune teller to look at people and fortune tell for them, it takes a lot of effort and uses up a lot of energy. He really thinks he's a true master. He even set a limit on his customers. Who cares? A fashionably dressed youngster said. If you don't care then get lost, don't take up a slot for nothing. There was a large crowd outside his shop. It was as if they had all discussed and arranged for a meet up. We're already in such a modern era and people still believe in these feudalistic things. If it was in the past, people would have started a war over it, the youngster unhappily said as he took out his phone to record the crowd. It's your own problem if you do not believe in Master Lin. He's godly. My neighbor heeded Master Lin's advice and cancelled his family trip. If not, a disaster would have happened to him, a middle-aged woman said. I know about that incident. I was there too. The family of 3 even came to thank Master Lin personally. Look at the board over there, it was a token given by them. Yes, yes. It was because of that incident that caused me to believe in Master Lin's powers. Sigh, looks like it'll be even more difficult to look for Master Lin for fortune-telling in future. Look, there are so many people outside. We're losing so much money. Fraud Tian sighed regretfully. Time to work. Please organize them into groups. Lin Fan said. If they had not set any rules, they would have been shocked to death after seeing so many people. However, with the ground rules set, they wouldn't have to work till they're exhausted. BL.net Fraud Tian stood outside the door and took out a box of number tags. Excuse me, everyone. Please queue up in an orderly manner. Fraud Tian shouted. Most of these people who had come for a fortune-telling session with Lin Fan were believers of Master Lin. Although the customer limit that the shop had set was a pain in the A*s, they still decided to follow the rules in order to let Master Lin have a look at them. But some of these youngsters took out their phones and took pictures of the scene. They felt that it was a really strange scene. Even though Master Lin's Weibo was so popular, it was still impossible for people to believe in Master Lin so much because such things were illogical. The bosses and employees in the surrounding shops were all envious of how good Lin Fan's business was. Just how much money is he going to earn? Chapter 55. Destroyed on live stream. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations. First, they gave out 100 number tags. All the number tags were quickly taken up by the crowd. Then, 20 people were chosen out of this group of 100 to meet Master Lin. Those who weren't chosen felt really regretful, while the 20 people who got chosen were all extremely excited. Most of them believed in Master Lin a lot. However, there were some who were there just for fun and did not believe in fortune-telling. The daily limit was 20 customers and that lightened Lin Fan's workload by a mile. If the situation from a few days ago had continued, Lin Fan would probably have died of exhaustion. Thank you, Master. Lin Fan just nodded and shouted, last person, number 35. Number 35, Fraud Tian shouted as he stood at the door. Fraud Tian had noticed that every one of Master Lin's customers would give him $200 or $300, which was more than his daily earnings at the overhead bridge. Hey, where's number 35? Fraud Tian shouted. Lin Fan sipped on his tea and said to Fraud Tian, if the person's not here, then consider it forfeited. Then, we can end it here. Those people who did not obtain the tag to meet Master Lin were all furious at the person who had forfeited his place. They had waited for so long but did not even get to meet him, and the lucky one actually disappeared. How infuriating. I'm coming. Then, a fashionable youngster walked over to the stall from a distance. Didn't expect to be chosen since I'm only here for a try. It's going to be interesting, the younger mumbled to himself as he was walking over with a can of cola in his hand. Zhao Zhongyang did not believe in Master Lin at all. He had received prestigious education and had always found these superstitious things to be a joke. So you're Master Lin, I absolutely have no belief in you, but since I've been chosen, just conduct a fortune-telling session for me, Zhao Zhongyang said condescendingly. Then, he took out his phone and opened a live streaming app. Didn't expect you to be a broadcaster, Lin Fan said. Of course I am. I am a famous broadcaster on the Douyu Broadcasting Company with a fan base of a few 100,000 people, Zhao Zhongyang laughed and said. When he started to broadcast, the number of viewers slowly increased to over 60,000 people. On Douyu, he was considered King awesome being. Master Lin, right. Please hold on, let me speak to my fans. Zhao Zhongyang immediately brushed Lin Fan aside and spoke to his phone. Brothers, do you know what I'm doing now? Let me tell you. I am actually consulting the famous Master Lin from Weibo. This time, I'm here to show everyone how capable he is. Zhao Zhongyang said as he switched his phone to bullet screen mode, allowing people to comment on his stream. No way, is that really the famous Master Lin from Weibo? I am the fortune-telling god, Master Lin. I speak for myself. Host, please expose this *TTY master. My grandma used to help me fortune-tell when I was young. She followed the advice of a master and made my childhood years miserable. He's so young. He's just a fraud and he still claims to be a godly fortune-teller. Master Lin, look. My fans don't believe in you at all, Zhao Zhongyang laughed and said. He was a broadcaster and naturally liked to mess things up to attract the attention of more viewers. The surrounding crowd also observed the situation in the shop. Looks like this youngster is here to look for trouble. Master Lin is extremely capable, but the youngsters nowadays do not believe in these things anymore. Zhao Zhongyang straightened his posture, gulped down his cola and said, just have a casual look at me. This Zhao Zhongyang was simply too much, but Lin Fan wasn't angry at all. He looked at Zhao Zhongyang's facial features and said, I advise you to not drink any more cola. Go to the hospital and have a check. Oh. Zhao Zhongyang started to laugh. He then waited to see if Lin Fan would say anything else, but to his surprise, Lin Fan remained silent. That's all? Zhao Zhongyang asked. Yes, Lin Fan nodded. What the? Just like that. Can't you say something else since you're a master? For example, my wealth, love life and, master, I am live streaming, can't you be a little more cooperative? Zhao Zhongyang laughed at Lin Fan and thought everything was a joke. Lin Fan shook his head and laughed, why not look at your health instead? All good luck can only be built on a good foundation, which is your health. In the broadcast room, 6666. What AF King awesome master. It's the first time I've seen a master with such few words. Brother Yang must be fuming in anger. He's already told Master Lin that he's broadcasting, can't he be a little more cooperative? Brother Yang must be furious. What's his plan? Just one sentence and you claim to be a master. How meaningless. This is just too meaningless. How much is it? Zhao Zhongyang shook his head and said. Just follow your heart, Lin Fan said calmly. Zhao Zhongyang took out a coin from his pocket and placed it on the table. Then, he said, I feel that this session was only worth this much money. That's all. Thank you. Let me tell you something before you leave. For your safety, please go to the hospital for a check. Lin Fan said with a straight face. Zhao Zhongyang shrugged his shoulders, took his can of cola and walked outside. He ranted to his phone screen, master, indeed. I am only 20.2 years old and I'm healthy. 6666. Brother Yang revealed his age. Brother Yang, quick go for a check. You might even be pregnant. Initially, the crowd was furious at Zhao Zhongyang for only giving $1. But then they soon simmered down because they saw that Master Lin wasn't angry at him at all. Then, some kind-hearted women started to talk. Youngster, Master Lin is very accurate. You should really go to the hospital for a check. Yeah, regardless whether it's accurate or not, going for a check. Up isn't a bad thing. Zhao Zhongyang thanked the crowd for their good intentions and said, "Thank you for your concern. I don't believe in fortune telling, and as for my health, I know myself better than any of you." Fraud Tian was infuriated when he saw that the youngster had only given $1. He thought he was there just to look for trouble. But Lin Fan just smiled like he didn't bother much about what had happened. The crowd and Fraud Tian were furious when they saw how Master Lin was humiliated by this youngster, but at the same time, they were also impressed by his character. What they didn't know was that Lin Fan was furious on the inside. If not for the second mission, he would have kicked Zhao Zhongyang and cursed, "Do you think I'm AF * king beggar?" Zhao Zhongyang was walking on the streets, talking trash to his fans as he continued with his broadcast. "Let Brother Yang educate you. This fortune teller is a scammer, don't believe him. Did you see how I just gave him $1? He's just a street performer and wanted to cheat my money. He can dream on. Thank you, everyone, for your support and rockets. Brother Yang, I'll donate more rockets to you. Why don't you go for a check? Up and prove these people wrong. Yes, Brother Yang, please make them eat their own words. Take the medical report and smack them in their faces. +1, +2, Zhao Zhongyang depended on broadcasts to make a living. The requests made by his fans were important to him. Furthermore, to receive such a generous donation of 10 rockets by a single fan meant that he had to fulfill his request. Alright, I'll head to the hospital now and use the results to hit them in their faces tomorrow. Chapter 56. The Car Squad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations Lian Zhou. Wu Tian. He was a man who didn't leave his house often, he usually just drank tea at home, read books, and meditated. He hoped to accumulate some good karma for his daughter in the last phase of his life. When he had been young, regardless of who came to him for fortune telling, as long as they paid, he would give his best advice to them. He had to do it for the fame and power. As such, he had sometimes had to take the side of the evil doers. But in the eyes of the powerful and influential now, Wu Tian, he was considered a living god in Lianzhou. People who wanted advice from him were willing to pay lots of money. Wu Tian, he had already stopped fortune telling for many years, and even if he read fortunes, he was extremely selective. He did not read fortunes for the evil, the heartless, and those who wanted his advice just to become wealthy. Ring ring, his mobile phone rang. As he looked at the number, he smiled. Looks like the little girl wants to buy some clothes for his old man again. Uncle Wu, I am Yulan's friend. She just got into an accident and is in the hospital now. Clatter. Wu Tian, he was in shock, his face turned pale and he quickly asked, which hospital? The First Citizens Hospital, 6th level. After he hung up, he didn't even bother to pack his stuff and just quickly left the house. How had this happened? In order to keep his daughter safe, he had spent a lot of time and effort every day to read his daughter's fortune. How had it turned out like this? At First Citizens Hospital. Although Wu Tian, he was over 60 years old, he was still healthy and fit. He arrived at the ward in no time. As he opened the door, he sighed in relief when he saw that his daughter was laughing and chatting. Dad, why are you here? Wu Yulan asked as she saw her dad. Then she looked at her friends and said, didn't I say I'm fine? Why did you still call my dad? Yulan, are you okay? What happened? What did the doctor say? Wu Tian, he asked anxiously. One of her friends replied, Uncle Wu, while we were shopping today, a flower pot fell onto Yulan's head. The doctor has already examined her. She fainted earlier, but she's fine now. Thank you, it's good that she's alright, Wu Tian, he said in relief. But what worried Wu Tian, he was that the accident occurred so suddenly and he had not predicted it despite already reading her fortune. It scared me. I never thought that the guy would really get it correct. How despicable, Wu Yulan said as she massaged her head, which was still hurting. Upon hearing what his daughter said, he took her phone and looked at Master Lin's Weibo. Dad, this youngster is an arrogant jerk. Wu Tian. He remained speechless. He waved his hand and continued to look specifically at every line of Master Lin's Weibo. He also looked at the news he had predicted, and after reading through Master Lin's Weibo, he looked a little more interested. As they were in the same trade, he could tell if a person was good or not. Especially since Lin Fan was so young, it shocked Wu Tian. Yulan, rest well. Don't think too much, Wu Tian, he said. He had already devised a plan. Alright, Dad. Then, Wu Tian walked to the lobby of the hospital and called someone. He said, "Hi, sorry to trouble you, I am looking for someone's number. 6 p.m. in the afternoon. Fraud, wanna go eat kebabs tonight?" Lin Fan asked. Are you treating? Fraud Tian asked. Aren't you stating the obvious? Lin Fan said. Wow, looks like we're quite close to each other now, Fraud Tian smiled and replied. Just then, a luxurious car stopped in front of the stall. Even though it was a luxurious car, it wasn't a rare sight in Shanghai. But the person who came out of the car attracted Lin Fan's attention. Bnoel dem, millionaire Wang is here. Fraud Tian lit up when he saw who it was. He quickly went forward to welcome him and said, Chief Wang, it's an honor to have you here. Wang Mingyang just smiled to Fraud Tian and looked at a Lin Fan who was lying down with his nostrils facing the ceiling. He said, his friend is here and he didn't bother to even greet me. Ah, look who's here. It's Chief Wang. Come, have a seat. You're a rare and special guest. Fraud, pour a glass of tap water for Chief Wang. He's an honored guest. We have to give him our best water, said Lin Fan. Hey, you're really looking for trouble, aren't you? Wang Mingyang said. You're right. Let me tell you, I have an expert here. Lin Fan was fearless as Fraud Tian was so good at fighting that he could probably take out 20 people without a problem. I didn't come to argue with you. I'll treat you guys to a meal tonight. Are you going to give me face? Wang Mingyang asked. Fraud, time to close the shop. Lin Fan sat up and said. Are you coming? Wang Mingyang asked. If I'm not coming, why would I close the shop? Lin Fan asked as Wang Mingyang remained silent. In the luxurious sports car. Wow, this car is nice, it's so comfortable. Fraud Tian said as he enviously touched the car's interior. What would you like to eat? Wang Mingyang smiled and asked. You're the boss here, you make the decision. Lin Fan was rather envious as he saw the luxurious interior of the car. He swore in his heart to make as much money as possible so that he could buy one for himself and even one for Fraud Tian. How's the car? It's good, right? Wang Mingyang asked. Yeah, it's pretty good, Lin Fan replied. If you want it, I'll give it to you, Wang Mingyang said, but he knew that Lin Fan wouldn't accept it as a gift. Sure, no problem. I'll take it, Lin Fan said. Since Wang Mingyang was giving it to him, he should just accept it. He couldn't take the $1 million previously because of the strict rules in the encyclopedia. But now, he could finally get what he deserved. Wang Mingyang was a little shocked. Then, he smiled. He didn't bother much about a car. He felt that this friend of his had a weird personality. When we're done, I'll transfer the car over to your name, Wang Mingyang said. You don't have to do that. I'll just drive this car casually and return it to you when I'm sick of it. Lin Fan said. He had obtained his license back when he was in university but hadn't been able to afford a car. Now that he had one, he was rather excited. I think you have great capabilities. If you want to earn more, I can recommend some of my friends to you. They're generous. Perhaps you could buy a few cars with just a session of fortune telling, Wang Mingyang trusted Lin Fan a lot, and his wealthy friends also believed in fortune-telling. A fortune-telling session for $1 million was common for the wealthy people. No need for that, I'm coping fine now. Lin Fan didn't want to be a fortune-teller for the rest of his life and didn't know what the next page of the encyclopedia entailed for him. It could be a change in his fate to help him live a good life. After a while, they had arrived at their destination. This place is luxurious, Lin Fan said in awe as he alighted from the car. Wealthy people sure know how to enjoy themselves, Fraud Tian said. Let's go, you can eat anything you want today, Wang Mingyang said. As they entered the door, a bunch of pretty ladies greeted them. Lin Fan remained calm while Fraud Tian got a little excited at the sight of them. Wang Mingyang was a regular customer there. Even the manager had personally come to welcome him. A bottle of expensive wine was presented to them. Waiter, give me a bottle of Sprite. Fraud Tian shouted. The waiters were stunned. Sprite. Is this a joke? To the waiters, Wang Mingyang was a big customer. Naturally, they fulfilled his request. Even if they didn't have Sprite, they would have to think of a way to get it for him. Sprite mixed with this wine will taste amazing. Fraud Tian poured a glass for Lin Fan and mixed in some Sprite. Fraud Tian happily said, this is how you're supposed to drink it. Lin Fan downed it in one go and nodded. You really know how to drink, Fraud. Fraud Tian was delighted. Of course. Wang Mingyang smiled and shook his head. A bottle of wine that cost over $10,000 just got destroyed by Sprite. But he wasn't bothered as he treated them like his friends and thought it was funny. Give me a glass too, Wang Mingyang said. Fraud Tian looked at Wang Mingyang and shook his head. Then, he said, sigh, you wealthy people don't even know how to drink it this way. Looking at Wang Mingyang and the rest, the manager and waiters were all dumbfounded by what Fraud Tian said. Where did these people come from? Help me read someone's fortune later, Wang Mingyang said. What shall I focus on? Lin Fan said. Stardom. Sure, no problem. I've taken his car and eaten a free meal from him. Fortune-telling for someone shouldn't be a problem. As for Wang Mingyang, Lin Fan recognized that he had a great personality, he was loyal and had a sense of brotherhood. Furthermore, he was humble in front of them. If he was an arrogant and egoistic man, Lin Fan would not have bothered spending so much time with him. Chapter 57. You should seize the day. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations, Chief Wang, you've been spending so much today, sending the car and paying for the food. I feel a little embarrassed. Even though Lin Fan was saying this, his hands didn't stop. He continued eating and drinking. To be with this kind of boss, he had to seize the opportunity and spend as much as he could. You better do a proper reading for me later. A $300 million investment. If it doesn't work out, I'll lose everything, said Wang Mingyang. Clattering sounds when Fraud Tian heard $300 million, he dropped his fork onto his plate. What? $300 million just to boost one person's popularity. How much is he worth? Why not boost me? I can fight, $30,000. No, $300,000 would be enough, Fraud Tian promoted himself. Stand aside. No one wants to boost your popularity. If anything, it would have to at least be a young man like me, Lin Fan said. She's here, Wang Yangming gestured towards the door. Wow, a beautiful lady. When Fraud Tian turned his head, he was seduced with one look. He started to drool uncontrollably, without a thought for his own image. Lin Fan despised the look on Fraud Tian's face, but when he looked over to the door, his heart skipped a beat. She was really that beautiful. She was at least 1.75 m tall, and her legs were long and slender. Her perfect S-shaped body was even more attractive, especially those two mountains. They were large and plentiful things made by the heavens. When she walked, they bounced up and down. However, she looked a little unripe and inexperienced. If she looked more mature, not many men would be able to restrain themselves before her. Chief Wang. When the beautiful lady arrived, she caught the whole restaurant's attention. Even those men who came with their girlfriends and wives couldn't help but glance over at her occasionally. Yes, sit, Wang Mingyang nodded, and when saw Lin Fan faking an expression of indifference, he laughed to himself. Wu Huanyu started to get nervous. She was an art student. Other girls from her school always said that if you wanted to stand out, you either had to have someone to back you or have some kind of asset. She didn't have anyone backing her, but according to her schoolmates, she had the assets, and as long as she opened herself up and made some sacrifices, it wouldn't be hard for her to have a spot in the entertainment circle. Afterwards, when the film companies came to the school to scout for talents, she met all their criteria perfectly, hence she got selected and signed with a film company. That day, she was told by Chief Wang that she had to be somewhere that night. He told her to dress up and come. This made Wu Huanyuan very anxious as she didn't know what to expect. At this moment, Wu Huanyuan secretly glanced at the two people by Chief Wang's side. The middle-aged man sitting opposite her had an uncouth appearance, and he was still drooling. The man next to her was very young and was quite handsome. However, the way he occasionally peered at her scared her a bit. Could it be that these two men were important people? Did Chief Wang call her over tonight to decide her fate? Wu Huanyu was against making such sacrifices and she felt extremely uneasy. This is Wu Huanyu. Huanyu, this is my friend Master Lin. Recently, there's been a lot of talk about him on Weibo. And this is his assistant, Tian. Wang Mingyang had no idea what Fraud Tian's name was, and stuttered for a moment. Fraud, said Lin Fan. Right, Fraud Tian, said Wang Mingyang. Laughing sound. Wu Huanyu couldn't hold back her laughter. Afterwards, she felt like she had done something wrong and apologized immediately. She would never have thought that the man next to him was Master Lin who had been trending on Weibo. This surprised her as she would occasionally talk about this Master Lin in their conversations, and now he was just next to her in person. You're a little nervous, lady, Lin Fan finally opened his mouth, don't be. We're all friendly people, be no calm. It probably would have been better if Lin Fan had kept quiet because once he spoke, Wu Huanyu became even more nervous. Wang Mingyang laughed, alright, enough teasing. She just graduated from university, and today I want you to help to see how's her future as a star. Wu Huanyu was shocked. She never thought that Chief Wang called her here just to have Master Lin read her fortune. Lin Fan stared at Wu Huanyu. Her cheeks turned red and she lowered her head embarrassedly. Raise your head, let me see more closely, said Lin Fan firmly. Wu Huanyu raised her head, and her eyes met with Lin Fan's. It felt strange to her as if she was being spied on. Wow, I never would have thought that you were from my hometown. The central region produces beautiful ladies. That saying is definitely true, said Lin Fan, laughing. Ah! Wu Huanyu's tiny mouth gaped open. The master was able to tell where she came from with one look. Master, you're from the central region too? Yep, nodded Lin Fan, I've finished my assessment. Chief, how do you want to promote her? Wu Huanyu could already tell that Master Lin's words would likely influence her future. And the contents of the upcoming conversation was likely to be confidential, therefore she wanted to excuse herself to go to the washroom. You should listen too, said Wang Mingyang. He then proceeded to explain his plan to Lin Fan. I want to invest $300 million to produce a movie and make her famous. You may not know this, but I don't only own a property company, I also own an entertainment company. The star who was made famous by us recently left us and decided to work on her own. Now, our company lacks a superstar that can support it, hence we desperately need one. When Wang Mingyuan talked about the star who ran away, he started to get angry, but he didn't dwell on the thought. Lin Fan became a little more serious as he realized that they were talking about proper matters. She isn't suited to be an actor at this early stage. $300 million to put her in a film would be a bad investment, said Lin Fan. Wang Mingyang was dumbfounded. He didn't expect this kind of result. However, he believed in Lin Fan's words. Wu Huanyu was disappointed and upset, but she continued to listen. Finally, Lin Fan had said the words that she had been waiting to hear. However, you can let her be a singer. Things would go smoothly and she would gain fame. Afterwards, when she goes back to film, she would be successful as well. Chief Wang, do you believe me? Lin Fan smiled gently. Haha, of course I believe you. That's enough, let's talk about something else. Wang Mingyang was firm about his decision. If he didn't believe Lin Fan, he wouldn't have asked him to read her fortune. Huan Yu, you should give Master Lin a proper thank you. If he says you can become famous, then you can definitely become famous, said Wang Mingyang. Thank you, Master Lin. Wu Huanyu thanked him, but she didn't understand the hidden meaning behind Wang Mingyang's words. Lin Fan waved his hand. This was just a simple task for him. In the middle of their conversation, Wu Huanyu excused herself to the washroom. Wang Mingyang banged the table, roared with laughter, how about that? Do you want me to hook you up? Nah, I'm just a poor man. I can't afford her. Besides, if someone steals her from me, who would I cry to, said Lin Fan as he chuckled. If anyone dares to steal from my friend's girlfriend, I will make sure he suffers, declared Wang Mingyang. Alright, based on your words, I'll recognize your friendship, said Lin Fan as he banged the table. Let's have a toast. Wang Mingyang raised his cup. What about me? Fraud Tian felt like he was being left out and was upset. Join us. So do you really not want me to hook you up? Asked Wang Mingyang again. Let's talk about this another time, replied Lin Fan. Wang Mingyang. You have to seize the moment. Lin Fan. Chapter 58. All hell broke loose. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations. Their thirsts were quenched and hunger was satisfied. Outside. Huan Yu, send Master Lin back. Wang Mingyang embraced Lin Fan. Hee, the rest is up to you. There's no need for that. I can drive myself back. Lin Fan was slightly tipsy but still had a clear mind. Don't drink and drive, I don't want to have to retrieve you from the police station, Wang Mingyang said with a smile. He then pulled Fraud Tian along with him and walked away. Ah, I want to take the car too. Fraud Tian couldn't bear to leave such a beautiful lady and such a luxurious car. Follow me, I'll bring you to have some more fun, said Wang Mingyang. Master Lin, let me send you back. Wu Huanyu gently held on to Lin Fan. I'll send you back. Lin Fan didn't need her support, and pulled his hand away, but while doing so, he accidentally touched her somewhere that he wasn't supposed to touch. It was soft and tender. Lin Fan's drowsiness suddenly wore off. He had become more awake and clear-headed. Wu Huanyu blushed. She opened the door for Lin Fan and pretended like it was an accident. In the end, nothing much happened between them, just as Lin Fan had expected. However, they did exchange WeChats. The next day. In the shop. Tell me honestly, did nothing really happen last night? Fraud Tian couldn't help but ask out of curiosity. Fraud Tian, I know why you can't find a wife now. Your mind is full of perverted thoughts, said Lin Fan. Fraud Tian rolled his eyes, then sighed, ah, it's good to be young. Ladies all like young men. If only I was 20 years younger, that lady wouldn't even go for you. Even if you were 30 years younger, it wouldn't make a difference, said Lin Fan. Fraud Tian. Fuck. The customers are here, go and entertain them. Lin Fan's shop was still the busiest shop on that street. Once it opened, the shop would be packed with customers. Master Lin's business has been really going so well. A shoe shop owner looked at the snaking queue outside Master Lin, and remarked enviously. What are you guys looking at? Hurry up and give out the flyers. Pull some customers in, the owner ordered his staff. Many people were drawn to the shop by its reputation. They heard that the predictions from this fortune teller were very accurate, and decided to give it a go. However, when they saw the rules, some of them felt that it was ridiculous and that it was a waste of their time. Do you guys think this shop is just overhyped? It feels a bit stupid for us to just wait idly here. Don't say that. This shop's predictions are very accurate. My seventh aunt's son came here to get his fortune read and it was really accurate. I didn't get chosen yesterday. Today, I have to get chosen, a man said. Lin Fan looked at the crowd outside and laughed cheerfully. It wasn't a bad day at all. 20 readings a day would earn him a substantial amount of income. Master Lin, Master Lin. At this moment, a joyful voice echoed through the area. The people queuing for a number outside gazed at the youngster. They had no idea what he was doing there. When this youngster came here the last time, he asked about his career. Judging by that look on his face, something good must have happened. What could possibly have happened to his career? You would be surprised to hear this, but Master Lin said that his luck was bad the past 2 days, so he shouldn't go for his interview yet, until the day after that. How could it be? An interview depends on one's luck. Lin Fan heard the youngster's voice and peered over at him. A wide smile appeared on his face. The youngster was indeed lucky that day. Luong Xing was ecstatic. He passed his interview successfully, without any problems. He answered all the questions impressively and easily as if the gods were helping him. The interviewer asked him to report to work the very next day. He didn't even have to wait for the result. Judging from your expression, I'm guessing you passed, inquired Lin Fan. Yep, I passed. Thank you, Master Lin. If it wasn't for you I might not have made it, Luong Xing said sincerely. Kid, you managed to pass the interview through your own ability, said the townsfolk in the queue. Luong Xing shook his head. No, it was really all thanks to Master Lin. This kid is too gullible. Some things cannot be done by relying on fortune telling. An interview is a tangible thing. If you don't have the ability, even if you beg the gods and deities, it would be useless, a chubby man said. Luong Xian was already convinced that the reason he was able to pass the interview was Master Lin's advice. If it wasn't for Master Lin's advice, I would be in the same situation as my roommate, he thought. I have a roommate who is much more capable than me. Master Lin told us that our luck was bad for the past 2 days and that it was best for us to do the interview today. My roommate didn't believe him and went to take the interview on the first day. In the end, he got rejected, Luong Xing explained. When the queuing townsfolk heard this, they were lost for words. Could this be true? Ahem, Fraud Tian cleared his throat. When your luck is bad, you can even choke on water. That's why if you choose a day when your luck is good, whatever you do will get done much more smoothly and successfully. Some of the townsfolk felt that he made a lot of sense. Luong Xing thanked Lin Fan several more times, and Lin Fan graciously accepted his thanks. As Luong Xing left the place with a heart full of gratitude, the surrounding crowd started chattering. Those people who believed in Master Lin from the start believed him even more, while those that were suspicious towards him also started to develop some belief. The first number is number 6, Lin Fan yelled. The one chosen was a middle-aged woman. Her face lit up with excitement, while those who didn't get chosen continued to wait anxiously. At a certain hospital's entrance, Zhao Zhongyang was holding his phone and he started a live video. Within seconds, the number of viewers had reached 120,000 people. Look, today is when the results of the check.up will be released. When I receive it, let me know what you guys think I should do. Zhao Zhongyang didn't think much about the check.up. He was a young man. How could he have any diseases? The fans who were watching the live feed were very concerned. Naturally, Zhao Zhongyang had to clear their doubts. The fans were everything to him and he had to satisfy them. Brother Yang, 6666. When you receive the results, you must go to the master's place and show it to him. Hope that Brother Yang is healthy so he will give us a live feed daily from now on. In the past, Zhao Zhongyang did live streams for the money. Now, the fans were everything to him. Without them, he wouldn't know what to do. Viewers, do not be fooled. Today, I'll bring you with me live, to show you just how strong and healthy my body is. Would any of my brothers like to come and test me? 6666, reported for erotic broadcasting. Hello, 110. There's a broadcaster doing something illegal on his live stream. Inside the doctor's room at the hospital. Good morning, doctor. I'm the one who came to do a check.up 2 days ago. The results should be out by now, right? Zhao Zhongyang said with a smile. The doctor looked at Zhao Zhongyang and nodded, it's out. Are any of your family members here? Hey, it's just a check.up. Why would I need my family to come? Now, where's the results? Demanded Zhao Zhongyang. The fans watching the live broadcast felt that something was strange about the doctor's tone and behavior. They had a bad feeling about it. The doctor retrieved a sheet of paper. Without even looking at it, Zhao Zhongyang placed it in front of his phone. Everyone, look carefully and tell me, how's the data on this sheet of paper? Zhao Zhongyang said, full of confidence. However, what made him suspicious was that the comments on the broadcast suddenly ceased, as if there was no one watching. A moment later, comments flooded his phone. It's terrible. Stay strong Brother Yang, don't give up. Be strong Brother Yang, we'll support you. My Brother Yang. What's going on? These comments left Zhao Zhongyang dumbfounded. He then looked at the results sheet. He didn't understand the data printed on top and went straight to the check.up conclusion below. Pathology diagnosis. Stomach, adenocarcinoma. When he saw those words, Zhao Zhongyang's fingers trembled. He felt like something was stuck in his throat, and couldn't speak without stuttering. Document doctor, what do these words mean? The check.up concluded that you may have stomach cancer, but we still need to. Thud. Before the doctor finished his sentence, Zhao Zhongyang had collapsed onto the floor in shock. At this moment, all hell broke loose in the comments section. Chapter 59. Begging for mercy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations. Brother Yang, you can't back down, you gotta stay strong. Brother Yang, we're all fans of you. You have to be strong and not be afraid of sickness. You have to stay strong and see yourself through it. Brother Yang, you gotta settle your heart down so that you can experience the happiness you deserve. I'm only just slightly older than 20. How can I accept my fate like that? The fans in the broadcast were all shocked. They hadn't expected the results to be like this. Zhao Zhongyang looked spiritless as if he had lost his will to live. His hand trembled as he held on to the phone and he started to cry. How can it be like this? I'm still so young. The 2 words, stomach cancer, already caused him to have a breakdown. The main cause of people's deaths due to medical conditions wasn't illness itself. They die because of fear and trauma. If not for counseling, Zhao Zhongyang might have really died from the scare. Then, a line of text appeared on the broadcasting screen which caused Zhao Zhongyang to feel like he had found a reason to live. That Master Lin is indeed a god. He knew that there was something wrong with Brother Yang just by looking at him. Zhao Zhongyang was shocked beyond words. As he saw the text, he thought of Master Lin. Yes, he must be able to save me. The doctors were all used to seeing cancer patients and tried to console him. Youngster, don't be anxious. This is just a preliminary check. It's not confirmed yet. Perhaps, Beov the doctor wanted to console the youngster, but he immediately snatched the medical report over and stormed out of the room. Youngster, don't be anxious. Hey, the doctor said as he helplessly shook his head. Youngsters these days had no willpower. For Zhao Zhongyang, his last hope was Master Lin. He was so young, how did he contract such an illness? He didn't do evil deeds regularly and often helped the elderly cross the road. Although he didn't do many noble and kind deeds, he frequently did these small kind actions to help other people. He didn't have a wife or children. To think that he'd miss out on all of that. Crying sound. The more Zhao Zhongyang thought about it, the more fearful he became. He started to cry, and that attracted the attention of the passers-by. They thought he had lost his girlfriend. Cloud Street. Lin Fan had already seen 60 customers who had only minor problems and no major ones. With Lin Fan's current capability, he could just read fortunes for his whole life, but he wanted to do it for only 1 or 2 years. Although one's life is already decided by the heavens, it is complicated and can change any minute. For instance, if you were someone living in poverty and you had been told that you would become rich in future, you might become lazy as you would have already found out your fate from fortune-telling. The laziness would cause your destiny to change because you wouldn't work hard. When Lin Fan was fortune-telling for people, he saw the main lifeline that stretched to the end point. But this line had many other lines branching out from it. All these were potential changes in one's life. Master, how's my wealth looking this year? A man wearing a suit with a white tie said. No great fortunes, just small ones. Do not be greedy or you might face a bad outcome. Lin Fan smiled and said. The middle-aged man wasn't a fool, he understood what Lin Fan said and took out $100 bills for Lin Fan. Thank you, Master, for your advice. This middle-aged man was a trader working in an international finance corporation. He was a rather average worker, but he was considered to be doing pretty well in Shanghai. Indeed, he had frequent small fortunes, just like what Master Lin had said. Recently, an event had caused the middle-aged man to be in a dilemma. He had been thinking of investing all his life savings into a project to earn a large sum of profit, but he was worried. After he had heard that there was a brilliant fortune-teller along Cloud Street, he decided to come and have a look. Initially, he didn't believe it. But when Master Lin listed his career achievements and events, he believed in him completely. Therefore, he understood what the master meant to not be greedy. Next, number 66. Lin Fan said. It's me. I've waited for ages to be called by you, Master. A middle-aged woman laughed. Just as she was about to enter the shop, someone rushed into the store and bumped into her shoulder. Ouch, don't you have eyes to see where you're going? The middle-aged woman scolded. She had wanted to scold him further, but she was stunned by what happened next. It wasn't just her who was stunned, everyone in the queue was also stunned. Master, please save me. Zhao Zhongyang rushed into the shop and collapsed onto the ground, hugging Lin Fan's thighs as he screamed. The surrounding crowd started to have a commotion after witnessing this scene. Who is this chap? What happened? Why is he so afraid? I don't know, could it be an act? Hey, I saw him 2 days ago. He's the one who gave Master Lin a dollar coin. Tell us then, what's happening? 2 days ago, this chap came to look for Master Lin to ask about his love life and wealth and some other stuff. Master Lin immediately told him to first go to the hospital for a checkup as everything had to be built on his health. This guy wasn't happy with it and argued with Master Lin. Then, he gave $1 and left. Looks like Master Lin guessed correctly. Guessed correctly. I think you meant he predicted it accurately. Let's enter and look at what this guy found out about himself. The people in the crowd that thought that queuing for fortune telling was stupid had wanted to leave. But after they heard what the rest were discussing, they got interested and were doubting if it was really true. "You're Zhao Zhongyang, right?" Lin Fan felt helpless as he asked. He had already reminded him to see a doctor 2 days ago, and now that he's found out that he had an illness, why did he look for Lin Fan and not a doctor? But as Lin Fan saw how badly Zhongyang was sobbing, he tried to console him. "Master, yes, it's me, I'm Zhao Zhongyang," he exclaimed as he hugged Master Lin's legs tightly. For Zhao Zhongyang, Master Lin was his only hope to survive. "Youngster, let go of Master's legs first. We can talk things over slowly," Fraud Tian said. "No, I'm not letting go. If Master Lin doesn't want to save me, I'm never letting go," Zhao Zhongyang said. Lin Fan didn't know what to do with him. This youngster had been so arrogant just a few days ago. "What did you find out at the hospital?" Lin Fan asked curiously, as he didn't know what illness he had contracted. He had merely asked him to see a doctor as he had seen that his health was in a bad state. "Master, this is the medical report. You have to save me. I'm still so young, I don't want to die. If I am to die, what would happen to my parents? I'm their only son," Zhao Zhongyang cried. All of this was being recorded in his live stream. In the live stream, all the fans became silent. They were all fans of Zhao Zhongyang, and they were heartbroken at the sight of him in such a state. Brother Yang used to bring them joy and fun, and they had always remembered that. But now that Brother Yang has met something like that, how could they be happy again? Especially when there were some idiots who were celebrating in the comments section. The fans became furious and scolded them before kicking them out of the live stream. These idiots were inhumane. Lin Fan read the medical report while the crowd slowly surrounded him. When they saw what was written in the report, they all felt sorry for the sobbing Zhao Zhongyang who had collapsed onto the ground. How miserable. Chapter 60. Eating sh*t on live stream. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Sparrow Translations Editor. Sparrow Translations, this is stomach cancer. Someone casually said, and that sentence made Zhao Zhongyang cry even harder. "Master, please save me." Sobbing sound Zhao Zhongyang's cries filled the room and everyone felt sorry for him. "I'm a fortune teller, not a doctor. You need to consult a doctor for your condition," Lin Fan helplessly said. The surrounding crowd tried to explain to him so as to console him. "Youngster, go look for a doctor. Master is a fortune teller. What you did 2 days ago was wrong. Master reminded you out of goodwill and you only gave him $1. Yeah, this type of illness can't be detected until the mid to late stages. Furthermore, you can't feel it even if you have it. You should really thank Master." Those that knew what had happened 2 days ago believed in Master Lin even more. When Zhao Zhongyang heard everything, he finally understood. It must have been his actions that had infuriated Master Lin. He quickly took out all the cash he had on him, even his credit cards. "Master, I was wrong 2 days ago. Don't be angry. I'll give you all my money. Please just save me." Zhao Zhongyang only believed in Master Lin and nothing else. Lin Fan was lost for words. These people were just there to watch the show. "Master, I only have $2,000 with me now. This card has about $600,000 which I've earned from my live streams." Zhao Zhongyang saw that Master Lin didn't say a word or do anything. He thought that Master Lin wanted more money, and so he told him how much there was in his card. The crowd was shocked at how much money there was in his card. He was so young but had saved so much money. "That's enough money, find a reputable hospital and remove the tumor. Recover well and you should be fine," that was all Lin Fan could have said. He looked at Zhao Zhongyang and saw that he didn't have a short lifespan and he would probably overcome this illness. Master, I have stomach cancer. I know it, stomach cancer will kill me. Zhao Zhongyang said in fear. You have early-stage cancer. Zhao Zhongyang was stunned. Then, he cried fearfully and said, even if it's in the early stage, it's dangerous. My chances of survival aren't high. Master, you have to save me. The crowd was all relieved by what Master Lin said. Early-stage cancer can be easily treated with early treatment and proper recovery, a middle-aged woman said. Youngster, don't be afraid. I got stomach cancer when I was young too. Luckily, I found out about it early and look where I am now, a 60-year-old man said. The crowd tried various ways to console him but to no avail. He was still fearful. Do you believe me? Lin Fan looked at him sternly and said. I do. Besides you, I don't believe in anyone else now. Zhao Zhongyang nodded and said as he looked at Master Lin. That's good. Let me tell you, you have a long way to go. You will have a beautiful wife and have several investment banks. You will also live a longer life than others. As for how many banks you will own or how long you will live, I can't tell you the exact numbers. Lin Fan had no choice but to tell him everything. Master, you said I'll be fine. You're not lying, right? Zhao Zhongyang raised his head and looked at Master Lin with earnest expectation. Nope, I'm not lying. Lin Fan said. He felt that the world had become really weird. He was a fortune-teller but had to act as a psychiatrist as well. As Zhao Zhongyang didn't believe in anyone else but Master Lin, he became calmer after hearing what he had said. But Master, I didn't specialize in finance or investment when I was in school. Furthermore, I'm not so rich. How would I own 2 or 3 banks in future? Zhao Zhongyang asked. F***ck. Lin Fan didn't know what to say. The old lady beside him laughed and said, young chap, Master Lin is saying that you'll have 2 or 3 daughters in future. Zhao Zhongyang hadn't expected it and asked Master Lin, Master, you're really not lying, right? Do you really believe me? Lin Fan asked. Yes, Zhao Zhongyang nodded. That's good then, take your money and find a reputable hospital. I assure you that you'll be fine. Lin Fan said calmly. Master, will I have a son in future then? Zhao Zhongyang asked. Then, he thought of something else and asked again, Master, how does my wife look like and where is she now? Also, Master, how long can I live? Till I'm 80 years old. Master, will my daughters look like me? Lin Fan just blinked as he watched Zhao Zhongyang's performance. The crowd was shocked. Had this youngster gone crazy? Stop. I can only tell you that you'll be fine and you'll be happier than anyone else. You can leave now. Call your parents and find a hospital to do a thorough check-up before you go for your surgery. Lin Fan said. He had never met such an amusing person before. Then, just as Lin Fan stretched out his hand, Zhao Zhongyang quickly grabbed his hand, looked at him sadly and asked, Master, am I really going to be fine? Yes, Lin Fan reassured him. If this youngster was to repeat himself again, Lin Fan might end up kicking and punching him. Master, I know I am very annoying. I believe you a lot and therefore, could you tell me that I'll be fine once more? Zhao Zhongyang asked. Lin Fan took a deep breath and sighed, I swear to the heavens that if something bad happens to you, I will remain single for the rest of my life, okay? Master, I believe you. If you say that I'll be fine, then I will be fine. I'm going now. Zhao Zhongyang finally relaxed. Okay, Lin Fan nodded. He hadn't expected fortune-telling to turn out like that. The crowd stared at Zhao Zhongyang as he left the shop. Then, he suddenly turned back and walked towards Lin Fan. D*****. Lin Fan shouted. He didn't even wait for Zhao Zhongyang to say anything before he waved his hand and said, "Believe me, you'll really be fine. No problem at all. Master, I was wrong 2 days ago. Please accept these $2,000. Wait till I recover and I'll come back to thank you again." Zhao Zhongyang placed the $2,000 on the table and left with his phone. Then, he exclaimed to the fans on his live stream, "Even Master Lin said I'll be fine, what else could happen to me? It's just early-stage stomach cancer. Why should I, Brother Yang, be afraid? I will have several investment banks in future. Who wants to be part of my family? Quickly send me your wedding gifts. Brother Yang, 6666. Brother Yang finally has some fighting spirit. To my father. Law, please accept my gift of a single rocket." The crowd was stunned. This amusing chap was indeed extremely happy. Lin Fan helplessly shook his head. "Just keep up that attitude. If something else comes up, I'll eat sh*t on live stream."